start, sir?
Yes, sure. Please, madam. Go ahead, madam.
I would like to share my screen.
Yes, go ahead, madam.
Yeah, is the screen shared?
Yes, madam. Yes, madam. ICT enabled teaching. Please go ahead, madam.
Yeah. Okay. My topic today, I would like to cover ICT enabled teaching, which covers the different digital tools which are available for teachers, especially under higher education. Some of them can be used even at school level too, but most of them concentrate on education initiatives which are taken up under the digital initiative of Government of India. So that I would try to cover. And before starting, when this digital initiative was launched by the central government, the then Information Communication Technology Minister in his speech gave this formula: IT plus IT is equal to 2IT. He abbreviated it for that it is IT, which is information technology, and instruction by teachers. Means both of them. One IT is information technology, the other IT which is instruction by teachers. So technology and instruction of the teachers both together would be equal to 2IT. That is nothing but it would be doubling the effective of teaching. That is what is ICT enabled teaching. So taking this from his speech, I would like to begin my presentation today. This figure somehow has fascinated me. We know how a swan swims. Okay, just to appear on top, it looks very smooth, but only the swan knows how continuously it is peddling its web. Okay, so the position of the teachers is like this: just to appear on top. If you have to smoothly sail the children in their teaching learning process, it is the teachers. Just to appear on top, it looks as though the teacher is sailing very smoothly, but the teachers only know how hard they are striving in order to make learning very interesting, curious, and easy and enjoyable for learners. Okay, so that is how we call this the swan effect. Okay? So ICT enabled teaching takes the work from the teachers. They have to strive hard, I know, because they have to all the build ICT and the digital tools are continuously being updated. There are new tools which come up in education teaching, but the teachers have to improve their competencies, have to be continuously upgraded. Okay? But this makes learning very easy and enjoyable for the student, as though it is just going through very smoothly. Okay, so with this figure, I would like to start with the information and communication technology in education. What is this ICT in education? ICT in education is a mode of education. This uses information and communication technology in order to support, to enhance, and also optimize the delivery of information. Okay? It is not only optimizing the delivery of just information or knowledge, but also helps in changing the attitude of the students, the ability of the students, or the interest of the students in learning, to enhance the curiosity of students in teaching learning process, and also helps many a times there is a serious what do we say, a hitchback when we say development of skills through ICT, but it has also been shown that skills could also be enhanced through use of ICT in teaching. There is a worldwide research which has shown that ICT leads to improved student learning. Okay? Learning in terms of achievement in different subjects, irrespective of the subject, it has been shown that learning has been improved. And also, it also works towards the betterment of the different pedagogical methods which the teacher is using in the present classrooms. This has been shown by worldwide research all over the world. And there is one report by National Institute of Multimedia Education, Japan, which says that the use of ICT increased student exposure to this educational ICT through curriculum integration has a significant and positive impact on achievement of the students. Achievement of what? Achievement of knowledge and the comprehension of the students has found to be improved. Even the practical skills and also the presentation and communication skills of students too have been improved when the students are being constantly exposed to educational ICT. And the skills and knowledge have been improved in different areas or subjects like mathematics, science, and even the social sciences. So irrespective of the subject, the exposure of ICT increases the achievement of the students. This is what is the report of National Institute of Multimedia Education. Now, with this background, I would like to move on into the characteristics of what is ICT-enabled teaching learning. What are the characteristics or the main features? One thing is the self-paced learning, because we use various tools under which the students can learn in their own speed. Okay. Normally, in our lecture method, we keep a pace where we have the average student in our mind. We don't keep the slow learners in our mind. We don't look at the very brilliant student or the gifted children who are very fast learners. We follow a pace which goes according to an average learner. But this disturbs the gifted learners because they learn very fast and thus they lose motivation if we follow an average speed. So, similarly, for the slow learners will not be able to cope up with the speed with which an average learner learns. But normally in our classroom teaching, what we do, we follow a pace which suits an average learner. So this, when we use ICT or different digital tools in our teaching learning process, this will enable self-paced learning. So the students can learn in their own pace. Okay? If a slow learner wants to learn slowly, then the digital tools will help him to learn in his own pace. So this enables self-paced learning. The other characteristics is that this use of ICT in the teaching learning process, it helps us to create learning or create the learning situations itself. It also helps us to manage learning. There is a difference between creating learning process and also managing the learning process. Okay. Then it also helps us to deliver the learning and also assess and evaluate the learning which happens in the students. So ICT can be used to create learning or a learning situation, to manage the whole learning situation, to deliver the teaching learning process, and also the assess the learning or evaluate the learning which has happened at the end of the session. This facilitates the transaction between the teachers and the students. There is a word which we say is facilitating. Okay, means it not only just helps, but it also facilitates the transaction between teacher and the student. It always keeps the students updated. Okay, not only the students, even the two teachers, whoever uses ICT normally remain updated, because even digital tools which we use in teaching or the knowledge theories which we learn, okay, many a times keeps changing. Okay, so constantly with the use of ICT, that is information communication technology, the students can remain updated and the teachers also can remain updated. It enhances the teacher's capacity and ability. This all of us agree. When we use ICT, we know how the capacity of the teacher to teach the children enhances. It fosters live contact between the teacher and the taught. Okay? Though sometimes it may not be face-to-face when we use digital tools like these conferencing tools, but though we are geographically at a distant place, it appears that we are face-to-face, and then these tools like the Zoom app and the tools like the Google Meet. Okay? So these conference meeting calls, they help the teacher and student to have synchronous transaction where they are in live contact with each other. Then we can make the participation of the learners and with the experts to be interactive. Like for example, the Zoom app which we are using now, if you have to interact with each of us, even if you interact with other participants in the group or interact with the expert which is in the group, this live interaction is possible. So these ICT enabled teaching makes interactive participation possible when we use ICT. Reaching the unreachable is very important. This is why the Digital Initiative of India was started in 2005. Reaching the unreachable means many students who are in rural places and even in urban places for that matter will not have access to meet experts from various fields. Okay, this ICT enabled teaching will help us to reach the unreachable. Okay, it can be through various tools like email, e-learning, web-based learning. Okay. Now, what are the advantages of using these ICT tools? The first advantage over the face-to-face learning or the classroom teaching learning process is it enables us to use images, it enables us to use films, okay, and then it makes teaching very easy for us and also improves the retentive memory of the students. We know there are the different 5 senses which are used, that is the sense of sight, the sense of smell, okay, the sense of taste, the sense of touch. All these can be used when we make students to learn. Not only by hearing, when they simultaneously while hearing, they are also looking into the different images or films, and then this makes learning more retentive in the memory of the students. This is the first advantage of an ICT tool. And then it helps teachers to make complex instructions easy for the comprehension of the students. It also helps us to create interactive classes, thus making the learning enjoyable to the students. Okay? There is a new theory which has been evolving nowadays. Now, earlier, as teachers, you all know there are different theories of learning. I will not go deep into them. To just name a few, we have theories of behaviorism, we have theories of constructivism. Now there is a new theory of learning which has been evolving now, that is called the theory of connectivism. Means each of us are being connected continuously through these different ICT tools, and this connectivism also uses the older theories of behaviorism and constructivism in teaching learning process now. Okay? So it makes learning more enjoyable for the students. We have what we call the different computer instruction modes. One mode in it is the gamification mode. This makes learning more enjoyable for the students. There are different, it's not only just using a film, not only just using a PowerPoint presentation. There are new emerging learning technology tools which can be integrated into our teaching learning process. And most of them which are being newly used is the blogging, the interactive learning modules. Okay? Different learning modules in print media were used till now, but now these electronic learning modules try to integrate the learning modules into the electronic system, podcast, wikis, and then enhancement of different browsers, e-learning, mobile learning. Okay? All these are making the emerging learning technologies to be integrated into learning so that we can make learning and teaching process more enjoyable for the students. There are different barriers when we consider ICT in teaching. Now, what are the different barriers now at presently existing in our classrooms today, whether we take the lower classes or the higher education institution classrooms? The major barriers which exist today for integrating ICT in teaching is, first thing is, we know we need a device. And the commonly used device now is the computers in the classroom. The number of computers in the classroom. And then low speed internet, then lack of genuine softwares for integrating these digital tools. Then also on the part of teacher especially, there is a lack of motivation to use ICT. Okay? Now, there is a popular saying which goes on in our profession, saying that we teachers who are not born into the digital world, because when we were not born, our generation is not a digital generation. But today's students are born into this digital generation. Okay? We teachers who are not digital savvy are teaching students who are very comfortable in using digital devices. Okay? And we are trying to integrate these digital tools into the classroom teaching process. Okay? So there is a lack of motivation in use of ICT, especially on the part of the teachers. And also there is lack of proper training skills. If we just look into the teacher training programs which we have gone through, okay, we have not acquired during our teacher training program, probably we have not acquired these skills because ICT is something new which has come in, and there are numerous digital tools every day. If you just go in, even if we are using the same old Zoom, probably the 1 year back, this Zoom did not have the feature we have today, continuously updating. So the teachers also need to update their skills in use of ICT. So there is a lack of proper training skills, but courses like these would help teachers to improve their and also update their digital skills. And also unavailability of the latest ICT equipment, because this is a major barrier in ICT. Many times, even when we are using our mobiles, we might have seen the same app, suppose we are using, and we want to get updated. Okay, many times on the older versions of the phone, certain updated versions of the app we will not be able to use. Okay, so we will have to update even with the equipment which we use. But this unavailability of the latest equipment also acts as a barrier for ICT in teaching, because that is a financial burden on the part of the institution system also. Then there is a lack of expert technical staff, because we can't expect all the teachers to have the whole technical knowledge required for using these ICTs. So there is a lack of expert technical staff also for maintenance also of these devices. Then also from the administrative part, there is a poor support for integrating ICT in teaching. Then also the poor course curriculum. The curriculum or the textbooks which we develop or the activities which we suggest in the curricular or the textbook part do not support ICT in teaching. So this has to be updated, but many even NCERT and then CBSE boards are working towards updating the curriculum and also suggesting what ICT can be used by the teacher when they are teaching certain content. This update is going on under the National Digital move by India. The major challenge here is the continuous professional development of the teachers so that they can develop new model pedagogies and tools for learning. Normally nowadays what we are using is the tools which are developed by people who are not teachers. Okay? But teachers have to get involved in development of these new pedagogies and then tools for learning with the aim of enhancing the teaching learning process. Now, what are the digital? We speak about that the teachers should get updated, and then the teacher should have digital skills. So, what are these digital skills which are required by the 21st century teachers now? It is not just able to use a word processing or a spreadsheet software. As soon as we say I am able to make a PPT or I am able to type something in a Word, edit something in a Word file, or enter something in a spreadsheet, it doesn't mean that the teachers have all the digital skills required for the classroom teaching. But there are some additional digital skills. The digital skills which the teacher should have is the ability or the skill to use social media, the skill of web editing, the skill of also editing an image, and also skill of using presentation softwares. There are different presentation softwares freely available which the teachers can use. Okay, this presentation softwares combine the presence of the teacher and also any other image or the PPT or a film which can be integrated with the image of the teacher presenting it live. Okay, so these presentation softwares can also be used, and these skills of using the presentation softwares or searching for suitable presentation softwares. And then when we are adopting a software, we have to keep various criteria in mind when we are selecting these. So these are the digital skills which the teacher will require. And also skills with respect to the cloud storage and sharing solutions, and also use of general multimedia. We know medias in combination will increase the use of senses of the children in learning, which will also enhance the memory of the students and retention of the material they learn. So the teachers should be skilled enough in order to combine these general multimedia into their teaching learning. So these are the digital skills which a 21st century teacher will require. Now, what are these OERs? OER is the open educational resources. When we always speak of using educational technology in learning, and there are numerous educational resources or electronic resources which are available. Nowadays, we see as teachers, even it is very less that we open the books and read. Updated material is available, and then we can edit the material and then use it however we want when it is present in electronic media. So there are different open sources which are there. And when we have to adopt these open educational resources in our teaching or for our further updating of knowledge or for research further, what are these open educational resources and which are the resources we can use and how can we use? Okay? If you have seen these symbols somewhere, have you ever seen these symbols? Even if you open a printed book, okay, we see this symbol called the C, and we have heard of copywriting, right? So, and if one of you can just unmute yourself and then tell me what these symbols mean. Anyone, if you know. Have you seen these symbols at least anywhere? Okay. This symbol is commonly seen in textbooks, printed textbook also. This is what is, we say that the material from the particular book and use it without the permission of the author. Okay. And this symbol says that it is in public domain, means it is not copyrighted material, but instead we can use it. And what is the CC? Okay. Heard of Creative Commons? Okay. This knowledge a teacher should have when we are getting access and taking the material from these electronic resources. So before actually moving on into the resources, I will just tell you about to look for these symbols when we are taking the material or accessing the material over the open education resource. See, as we said, CC is Creative Commons. PD is public domain, means there is no rights reserved. So these are the two extremes of the spectrum of rights. One spectrum is that the material is in public domain and you can freely take the material and use it as you want. And the other extreme is the copyrighted material. Okay? And in between comes the Creative Commons. So prior to 1923, there were no copyrights. And again, if an author has taken copyright, the rule is that the 70 years after the death of the author. Okay? And if it is corporate authorship, that copyright will be there for 95 years from the date of publication. After that, it will be in public domain. Now, when we take the copyright and Creative Commons, if we want to compare, the copyright has a philosophy behind it, which assumes that people are inherently bad and there is a law required to stop them in order to just take the material and reproduce the material. But the Creative Commons have a different philosophy behind. They assume that people are inherently good, okay? And we require a healthy culture to sustain all our information, okay? So this is what is the philosophy behind having the Creative Commons. I told you there is a spectrum. To one extreme is the copyright rules. The other extreme is the public domain where the material is freely accessible. Even we can use the material as we want. Even we can take out material from here and then we can change the material or modify the material. Also, we can use it for commercial use. Okay? And in between these two spectrums is the Creative Commons. And under this Creative Commons licensing, there are different types of licensing which we have to know. Have a basic knowledge about when we are using the material. See, this is one. The copyrights where all rights reserved for reuse. If we have to reuse, then we require permission from the copyright owner or the author. The public domain where there is no right reserved, we have to, maybe it can be used even without taking any permission from the author. In between is the Creative Commons where some rights are reserved and reuse is permitted without the permission under the specifications shared in the license. So there are different specifications which are there under this CC licensing. We will just have a brief knowledge of what is this specifications which come under CC, because when we are using our open educational resources, as teachers, because we know most of us take material from the open educational resources and use them further. Okay, so what type of licensing can we look for after this? If you, many of them may have knowledge about this, but after this, when you are accessing for material, just look for these symbols when we are taking for the material, okay, online. Now these are the symbols. The first symbol may be CC by. There may be a symbol called CC by SA. Another symbol is CC by NC. CC by NC SA. CC by ND is another one. Then the sixth one, or the last type of licensing under Creative Commons, is CC by NC by ND. Okay. So what are these 6 types of licensing under the Creative Commons which we have when we are taking the open educational resources which are licensed under Creative Commons? The first one, as I told you, is under the public domain, where there are no rights reserved. That is what is the CCO. It is in the public domain, so there is no copyright. We can take the material and use it as we want, even for commercial purpose, and we can share the material, and also we can modify the material. Okay, that is the material which is called the CCO, which is the material under the public domain, the first one. Okay, so there are no rights reserved for such type of material if it has this symbol. The second one is CC by. Okay, means this CC by symbol indicates that you can take the material, use the material, but you have to give an attribution to the author. Attribute and say that this is the person who in the reference, and then say that this is the material taken by the work of so and so person. Okay, so this is the simplest type of Creative Commons licensing. Even if we write a material or publish a material, we can also take the licensing of this Creative Commons online itself. Okay, so this is attribution, that is CC by. The second type of Creative Commons licensing which we can go for, or we have to look for when we are taking material, is attribution and no derivative. That is CC by ND. Okay, means we can, it is again licensed under Creative Commons by the author, but whenever we use this word by, means we can use it only by attribution, and no derivatives, means we can't extract material part by part, we have to take the whole material, so it is no derivatives. Okay, and then attribution non-commercial is CC by NC. We can take the material with attribution, means we have to give the reference, but only for our regular use or for our knowledge sake, and it is not for commercial purpose. Okay, we cannot have any financial benefits out of this such type of material. That is what is attribution non-commercial, which is CC by NC. Then there is one type of licensing called CC by SA. Okay, this CC by SA means attribution share alike. Okay, you can take the material, attribute it, but cannot make any changes in the material, but as it is, however the material is there, we have to just share the material alike without any changes. There is another one, the fifth type of Creative Commons licensing, that is attribution non-commercial share alike. Means a combination of these two, where it cannot be used for commercial purpose, but it can, and also it has to be shared as it is, and we cannot make any changes in the material which is being written by the particular author who has taken the license. The sixth and the last type of material licensing is attribution, that is CC by attribution, non-commercial and no derivatives. Okay, it's a combination of what all I told you before. Okay, means it cannot be used for commercial purpose, and we cannot derive something out of it. Okay, so these are the type of symbols which we have to look for when we are taking material online. Okay, so this is the first symbol, which is CC by, means we can distribute, remix, tweak, build upon the original work of the author, also use it commercially also. Okay, as long as we are giving the credit to the original creation, means we have to give the credit to the original author. This is the most accommodating type of license offered. Okay. Then I told you the second one, which is CC by SA, means which is share alike. Then we have CC by ND. It allows for redistribution. Okay. It can either be used for commercial or non-commercial, but as long as it is passed along unchanged, okay, we cannot change it or we cannot remove a part of it, but as a whole, we have to take the material and also give the credit to the original work. Then I told you CC by NC, which is non-commercial, means whatever new work which we derive out of this original work should be only for non-commercial purpose, and also we should acknowledge the original work. Then this I told you CC by NC and SA. This is a combination of this, the fourth one and the second one. Okay, it is non-commercial, share alike, and we have CC by NC and D, non-commercial and no derivatives. Okay, so these are the 6 type of licensing which we have to look for when we are taking out material from the open educational resources or which we take online. From now on, if you go to any material which we are deriving, we can look for these symbols when we are taking material. Okay, so this is the same thing. See, the first one, which is in the public domain, is most open, and as we move on in the spectrum, it is moving on towards the least open type of material, which is CC by NC and ND. Okay. So after having gained a certain knowledge about what is this Creative Commons licensing, we are moving into the Digital India campaign. Okay. This Digital India campaign has promoted extensive use of information communication technology in the teaching learning process. Okay. As teachers, we have to have the knowledge of this Digital India campaign and what are the initiatives which the government of India has taken. If we have the knowledge of this, we can use all these digital tools and digital initiatives created by the government of India. And this has been created by adopting the expertise of many professionals in the institutions like IIT and IIC, DRDO, okay, experts from various national level organizations have been involved in creating the content material under this Digital India campaign. We have this NME ICT, that is National Mission on Education. This National Mission on Education is through information and communication technology. That is what is NME ICT. This was envisaged in order to leverage the potential of ICT in the teaching learning process. How ICT can be used for the advantage of the teaching learning process and draw out the maximum potential of ICT so that we will be able to benefit all the learners, especially in higher education institutions. And it concentrated on learning anytime, anywhere mode. Okay, means at any time the learner wants to learn, and at any mode he wants to learn, and anywhere, wherever he is, anywhere he wants to learn, he can learn. Okay, so access to learning anytime, anywhere mode. That is the key aspect of this use of ICT in teaching learning under the National Mission on Education. This mission actually was launched, NMEIT was launched in 2009, which is a landmark initiative by MHRD, Government of India. The objective of this mission was to provide quality educational content. Okay, so the content which the learners access should be of good quality. Okay, and also the content should reach all the willing learners in India. At any nook and corner the learner exists, irrespective of the geographical distance of the experts and the learners. This initiative or the National Mission on Education wants to reach the unreached learners in any geographical corner, and the educational content which is of good quality should reach all the learners in India. That is what is the objective of this mission. This mission seeks to bridge the digital divide. We always speak of the digital divide or the gap between the urban rural learners and the rural learners. Okay? learners who have access to digital devices, access to the internet, and there are learners who are very remote, who don't have, we know there are many areas, rural areas in India for that matter, which does not have access to the internet, and even there are students who don't have access to the digital devices too. Okay, so this mission is trying to bridge this digital divide, or trying to lessen the gap, okay, in the skills to use these computing devices for teaching learning, both among the rural and urban teachers, as well as the urban and rural learners, so that they will be empowered to so that they can get into this digital revolution and also become a part of the knowledge economy of the nation, so that all of them are brought into the mainstream. Now, this major intervention aimed at enhancing the gross enrollment ratio in higher education. Okay, we will, as we look into the digital initiatives which have been taken, or digital programs which have been initiated and started, we will also see how the enrollment ratio is being enhanced. Now, the goal of this mission is to address all the education and learning related needs of students, teachers, and also lifelong learners. Lifelong learners, here we mean people who have already got into some work or got into some profession, but still want to upgrade their qualification or still want to learn something in their profession or in their field. They are the lifelong learners who are the target group here under this mission. So that is through the emphasis on ICT, and as it acts as a multiplier for capacity building efforts of the institution, but it does not compromise on the quality. Though it may be through the use of ICT that the courses are offered, it never compromises on the quality. Now, the technological progress which is happening means new inventions which have come on in the technological field or the ICT field can be harnessed, okay, for augmenting both expansion of education or enrollment of education, reaching the end reach, and also for improvement of the quality in education. Okay, so two things which have been concentrated here under ICT initiatives. One thing is the expansion of higher education and also improvement in the quality of higher education. So for capacity building and knowledge empowerment of the people, and for promoting new upcoming multidisciplinary fields of knowledge, okay, that is also a goal under this NME-ICT. There are mainly different focus areas of these missions. What does this mission focus on? The first thing it focuses on is the use of appropriate pedagogy for e-learning. Okay, so the first thing is it concentrates on what type of learning. It is the electronic learning, that is learning through the ICT. So learning through ICT cannot use the same teaching methodologies and pedagogy which we use in the regular classroom. So what is an appropriate pedagogy which can be developed, which can be newly modeled by our teachers for e-learning? So that is one focus area under this mission. The second focus area is experimentation, providing facility of performing experiments through virtual laboratories. Means not a real laboratory, but a laboratory which is available online. Okay, I will just show you one example of a virtual laboratory and how experiments can be done by the students online itself without actually being present in a physical lab. Okay, that we will look into. But this is the second focus area, because we know in the rural areas, we cannot give them access to very good laboratories in schools and colleges. So the second area which this NME-ICT is focusing on is providing facilities to perform experiments to every nook and corner the student is there by the use of virtual laboratories. Okay. Then the third focus area of this mission is testing and certification. If any of you have taken up this YM courses, you will be knowing the whole program, that is from enrollment to attending classes to discussion with other classmates who have taken your course mates, and discussion with the experts, and any queries you have, inquiries about the course, when even before and after going through the course, and even the examination and the certification and the certificate reaches you online itself. If you have gone through a Swayam course, you will know how everything goes on from online testing to certification. Okay, this is the third area which it focuses on. And the fourth one is online availability of teachers to guide learners. Okay, though experts from IIT also, and then there are many engineering colleges and many degree colleges and many university departments which are offering these YM courses. So under this, teachers are online to guide the learners. This is the other area which it is concentrating on. It's also concentrating on training of teachers to effectively use the new methods in order to integrate ICT into their teaching learning. Then also the other focus area which is concentrating on is using of the EduSat or the education satellite and direct to home platforms. Okay, now especially under this COVID situation, we have seen how direct to home channels have been used in order to deliver the content to the homes of the students. Okay, so these are the areas which this mission is focusing on. And we know there are three cardinal principles of the Indian education policy. Which are these three principles? The three principles are access, equity, and quality in education. Okay? Every child, we know under the Right to Education Act, every child has to have access to free education. That is the right of every child. Okay, so that is the first cardinal principle. And equity, okay, means equal opportunity should be given to all children irrespective So equity should be provided in education, and all children should have access to quality education. So these three cardinal principles of the Indian education policy can be served by using this ICT, because ICT will enable us to improve connectivity to all higher institutions, and it also enables us to provide low cost and affordable access computing devices to students as well as teachers, and it also provides high quality e-content, and this high content quality content is free of cost to all the learners in the society. So this NME ICT encompasses all these three elements. Okay? Keeping these principles in mind, different initiatives have been developed and being provided in NME ICT. Now, this mission has three major components. What are the three major components? One is content generation. Okay, so if you have looked for, many of you have may have got offers in order to develop content or develop e-content, develop your own presentation videos, and then update, and then you could post it on different websites. Okay, in this national mission. So content generation is one major component. The second component is providing connectivity to higher education institutions. And then under this, many higher education institutions are provided financial support so that they will be Wi-Fi enabled campuses. And then the third major component is research and development of low cost access devices. Okay, so under this NME ICT, providing connectivity to various universities and university level institutions and colleges, even polytechnics is in progress now. And this Campus Connect is another program which aims at Wi-Fi enabled campus. Okay, and then developing IT interventions that have potential to change the higher education scenario itself. Okay, further. Now, which are these digital learning resources or digital initiatives of the Government of India under this NME ICT, the National Mission of Education? A few of them I have taken here, which I will be able to cover in this session. The first one is the National Digital Library of India, Virtual Labs, e-Pathshala, Swayam Learning Portal, and this Sugamya Pustakalai, then Swayam Prabha. Okay, So these are a few which I will try to just give you an awareness about today. The first one we know is the National Digital Library. Many of you may have even nowadays, especially with these professional groups on WhatsApp, we have been getting the links under this National Digital Library where we can access numerous books, okay, on this library, and then many very good quality books have been digitalized. Okay, so this is a mammoth task was taken up in order to collate and harvest all the digitalized and digital content available across different educational institutions in our country, and then it has tried to index and host all these content, and then it has tried to facilitate the search and access to the open content on a single window. Okay, that is what is NDL, National Digital Library. It provides connectivity to all the higher education institutions through the cyberspace, and it leverages the potential of ICT in providing high quality knowledge modules or the learning modules with e-content, so that we will be able to provide personalized needs of the learners. Okay, we know providing individualized learning in the classroom is very difficult, but with the use of National Digital Library content, we are able to provide personalized knowledge to the learner, or provide meet the personalized needs of the learners, where even slow learners can learn at their own pace and their own mode of learning, and then gifted learners, average learners, and then they themselves can even select the mode of teaching and learning which they want to go through. Now, these modules which are delivered with the National Digital Library, they are developed and delivered through the platform called the Sakshat. Okay, so this is a one-stop education portal, which is a delivery platform where integrating all the contents which is developed under this mission. They also facilitate public scrutiny because it is in the public domain. Anybody can access it, and they can also scrutinize the material whichever is available on this Sakshat, and also give feedback, and transparency for the projects is also undertaken by this mission is there. Okay, so e-content that is ready is already uploaded on the Sakshat portal, and this is the website of the portal, and the content would continue to increase because continuously there are experts who have been continuously uploading their material on this platform. So this on this Sakshat portal, every Indian learner can access the material which they require and which is there. Okay, so this Sakshat education portal is a helpline. It's an educational helpline designed by our MHRD. In 2006, October 30, this was launched. It is a one-stop educational portal, and then the teachers and lifelong learners can access material free of cost here. Okay, and there is a central advisory committee which looks after the content development task on this Sakshat, okay, for every subject. And then there are representatives from various national level educational institutions like the IGNOU, then universities, and then Kendriya Vidyalaya Sangatans, Navodaya Vidyalaya, and then National Institute of Open Schooling, and NCERT, and other prominent academicians in a particular subject field are there in the Central Advisory Committee of the Sakshat. And in addition to all these national level organization experts, we also have some NGOs which are providing the content free of cost on this portal. So the vision is to cater to the learning needs of more than 50 crore people through NME ICT. So this initiative is expected to change the way teaching and learning is going to happen in India further. Now, the virtual class under this NME ICT, this portal offers online courses under spoken tutorials and NPTEL. NPTEL is the National Program on Technology Enhanced Learning Programs. Now, the topics which are provided in this virtual class into 4 quadrants, which we call. If you have taken up a SWAYAM course, you will understand what quadrants mean. Okay? The 4 quadrants, if we have to, even as experts, if you have to develop material, and then if you have to host different courses, which even all of us who are teachers in the higher education institutions can design our own course And then we can apply for this Swayam courses, where we can design and offer courses and also certify students. Okay. So this have to be developed in 4 quadrants if we are developing material for these courses. The first quadrant is called the content, which is the e-content. The second quadrant is the web resources. The third quadrant is the e-tutor. Okay. And the fourth quadrant is the evaluation quadrant, which is the self-assessment of the student. So any material developed for this virtual class on this portal goes through these 4 quadrants. Now, the second initiative which I spoke about was this virtual labs. What are these virtual labs? We also all know the meaning of virtual, so I will not go with this. Virtual labs, this was based on a basic idea that the lab experiments can be taught using the internet. The first question when it began was, can really lab experiments be taught virtually without actually the student being physically in a lab infrastructure? Okay, but it was an attempt which had been done, and then these experiments were being taught through the internet more efficiently and also very less expensive compared to physically establishing a lab in every school and college. Where they do not have equipments available, okay, because of scarcity and because certain equipments are very costly to be maintained in each and every school and college labs, they could get access to these virtual labs. Okay, this will help them to compete with the students who are studying in a better equipped school and will help us to bridge the digital divide. I told you in the beginning, this was one of the principles of this national mission of education, where it attempts to bridge the digital divide of the urban and rural students, and also digital divide even when the students are geographically placed apart. These experiments can be accessed anytime, anywhere. Okay, so virtual labs exist, and then students, whenever they require, can get access to these labs so that they will overcome the constraints on time felt when having access to the physical lab. Okay. And access to online laboratories under this national mission is free. But only thing is we have to register to it. Schools have to register. Now, physical distance and the lack of resources make us unable to perform experiments, especially when it comes to sophisticated instruments. And we also know very good teachers sometimes are a very scarce resource. Web-based and video-based courses address this issue of teaching to some extent, for that matter. And then when we are conducting joint experiments by 2 participating institutions, we can share costly resources, but this has been a challenge till now. So in the present day, internet and computer technologies have helped us to overcome these limitations, and where these limitations sometimes can hamper the students and researchers in enhancing their skills and knowledge. So these web-enabled experiments, which are for remote operation and viewing, also help to enhance the curiosity and also innovative abilities in students. It will help in learning the basic and also the advanced concepts through remote experimentation. This OLabs facilitate remote experimentation, and most equipment today we know have this computer interface for control and data storage. So it is possible to design very good experiments and some of these equipments which would enhance the learning of the student. So internet-based experimentation also enables us to use resources, knowledge, software, okay, and also some data available on the web sometimes. Apart from it, also encourages the skillful experiments being simultaneously performed at different places and at different times. These virtual labs, they do not require any type of additional infrastructural setup to conduct experiment at the user's premises. It means I sit at home and I can access this virtual lab. I don't require, even at school I can access, I don't require any infrastructure setup for it. And just one computer terminal with a broadband internet connectivity is all that they require to perform these experiments. Okay. And nowadays, the engineering colleges and science disciplines, for that matter, even English teachers also need to use language laboratories. All these science laboratories and language laboratories are available on these virtual labs. Now, there is one such virtual lab called the O Labs. This has been established in coordination or with the Amrutanandamayi Vishwavidyalaya. This before actually showing you one O Lab for that matter, I'll just show you what are the features of these O Labs. One, this O Lab is developed, experiments are being developed based on the content of NCERT and CBSE and also state board syllabus, and different subjects like physics, chemistry and biology labs are there for class 9 to class 12 also, and then even English and mathematics lessons are also available from class 9 and 10. And then the main feature of this lab is interactive. Okay, I'll show you how interaction is possible. This interaction is made possible through simulation and also animations and different laboratory videos which exist on these OLabs. Okay, the concepts and understanding of the experiment is very easy when they use these virtual labs. This gives the ability for the student to perform the experiment. Also, they can record the experiment and also learn the experiment wherever they are, anywhere in their place, in school or in their homes, at any time. And even some students perform the experiments very fast. Some students are quite slow in understanding the experiments. So it gives an individualized practice. Many times in school, what happens is the teacher demonstrates the experiments and the students are passive listeners or viewers of this experimentation. But here under virtual labs, the students themselves can perform the experiments individually and then practice it numerous times, however many times they want, with numerous values they can alter and then practice this experimentation, okay, in all areas for that matter. So this learning enabled assessment through online labs also facilitates the assessment of the procedure and manipulative skills of the experiments, and also the concepts and understanding of the experiment and how the students report and interpret this. In the lab, it is not just performing the experiments, the skills of reporting and skills of also interpreting the observations which they get in the experimentation is also very important. So even these skills of reporting and interpreting can also be practiced by the students, as well as they can be assessed. Assessment can happen by the self. Okay, so self-assessment can happen. Now, here I take a small example of how a laboratory experiment can be done. The first example which I would like to take is, I told you this has been developed with the help of coordination of Amruta Vishwavidyalaya. So this is one website link which says that amrutaolabsedu.in. There is one experiment of osmosis in biology. I'll just show you this experiment. Is this, can you view this? Now, one of you, I want you to respond. Are you able to view this
No,
screen?
no,
madam.
Oh, 1 second.
Slide not visible, madam.
Yeah, 1 second.
Slide.
Yeah, is this visible?
Yes, madam, visible. Now it's visible.
Now this one, OLabs, this thing I'm trying to just share. Is this visible, sir?
Yes, madam, visible, madam. Please go ahead.
Now, what I'm asking is whether this website of OLabs is visible.
Yes. Oh, no. The list will be visible.
Okay. Now, I'm trying to share this OLabs. 1 second.
Please go ahead.
Now,
Now the screen, yes, madam, OLabs.
Yeah.
Website is opening.
no, this I told you was in coordination with Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham. So this is one osmosis virtual lab which I just want to show. They have this theory which the student can study on this thing. Then the procedure has been explained. Only this one part I will just show you now. And there is an animation which is there, a simulator, a video of this. Then for assessment, they have a Viva here. And what are the important words which the students have to look for when they are going through this experiment, and what are the additional resources which they have to study. Now, I first open this theory part. The theory, if you see, now the first thing is what is the objective of this experimentation. Our objective is that to study osmosis using a potato osmometer. Okay? So the theory behind is they try to explain what is osmosis first. What is osmosis? Even if there are no biology, other than biology teachers also, it's quite easy. Osmosis, we all know, is the process in which the solvent molecule move through a semi-permeable membrane from one region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration until the amount of fluid is equalized on both sides of the semi-permeable membrane. See, this is what is the example they have given. Okay. The fluid, the in-between membrane here is a semi-permeable membrane. Okay. So here there is a concentrated sugar solution. Here there is a dilute sugar solution. Okay. So the fluid that passes through the semi-permeable membrane is known as the solvent, while dissolved substance in the fluid is known as the solute. You see, from the semi-permeable membrane, from the dilute sugar solution, the liquid here, the water which is the solvent, has moved over towards the concentrated sugar solution here. Okay, so this can be shown with an experimentation to the students. The theory is being explained. If you just see, they have explained the procedure of osmosis and what osmosis is, and then what is the cause for osmosis they have explained here. Okay, and then what is the importance of osmosis have been explained. See here, it plays a critical role in plant and animal cells. It helps in distribution of nutrients in the release of waste products. So living cells of both plant as well as animals are surrounded by a semi-permeable membrane, which we call the cell membrane. So the membrane forms a selective barrier between the cell and its environment. It does not allow toxic substance from the surroundings to enter into the cell. So the selective permeability allows the cell to regulate the flow of necessary substances into the cell and outside the cell. So plant osmosis is responsible for absorbing water and minerals from the soil by using the semi-permeable membrane of the root. Okay. So this is the theory they have gone on to explain. And what are the different types of hypertonic, isotonic, and hypotonic solution, all that they explain. See, they give the learning out, the phenomenon they say can be demonstrated in the osmometer. Okay? This is a device which shows the occurrence of osmosis. So what are the learning outcomes after they go through this experiment? What do they learn? Students understand the concept of osmosis, and then the cause for osmosis. They understand the importance of osmosis in plant as well as the animal cells. students will be able to do the experiment more accurately when they come to the real lab once they understand the steps through the animation and simulation. Okay, now this is the theory before they start off with the experimentation has been explained. Then they move to the procedure of the experimentation. What is the procedure of the experimentation? See, the procedure is being explained. The procedure says what are the materials required has been shown. The material required here is a large potato with a peel. Okay. Then a petri dish is required. A tile is required. 20% sugar solution. 2 pins are required. A knife is required and distilled water. A beaker of distilled water. Okay. Then they explain what is the lab procedure. They place the peeled potato on the tile using the knife, cut both the ends of the potato to make it flat. Okay? Then use the knife to make a cavity at the center of the potato from one of the flat sides almost up to the bottom. Okay? So pour distilled water, they explain all this. Okay? Then the simulator procedure, they explain how to perform it on the online lab, not the real lab. On the online lab, how do we perform? Then what is that you have to observe in the experimentation is explained. Observe the level of sugar solution in the potato cavity raises after some time due to the entry of water into the sugar solution through the selectively permeable membrane of the cells of the potato. So the conclusion is the movement of water from the petri dish to the potato cavity occurs because of the difference in concentration of solvent molecules in the two regions. So sugar solution in the potato cavity and pure water in the petri dish. Okay? They say what is the precaution you have to take while experimenting? The precaution is cavity which you make in the center of the potato should be deep enough to keep only a thin layer of tissue at the base of the potato. That is one precaution the student should do. Then the second precaution he should take is the sugar solution should be sufficiently of high osmotic concentration as compared to the cell sap or the potato cells. Take these two precautions. That is what they explain. See, after explaining the procedure, the animation is given. Okay, this animation shows through a video how I think you are able to listen.
Yes, ma'am.
They are telling what are the things required. Okay, so this is the animation, and now we move on to the simulation. Simulation where the students can themselves perform the experimentation virtually. See, whatever has been done, now the students themselves can select the sugar concentration here. See, if I select 20% or 25% sugar concentration, see, that is within the Petri dish. And in the potato, I can also select the sugar concentration of the sugar solution. Then I want to view it cross-sectionally because I want to see what will happen inside. So I go for a cross-sectional view. Okay. So if I want to increase the sugar concentration in the Petri dish and decrease the sugar concentration in the potato, okay, I can do it however I want. Now I have to first take the pin. See, I mark the level of solution inside the potato, and then I give a start. See, they said in this thing that 2 hours we have to wait. So after 2 hours, what will happen, that it will show. See, after 2 hours, there is a raise in this thing. Okay, here because I have selected higher concentration, that mark is, see, now I mark this. Okay, there is a rise. I can even get help here. See, when I press help, it is showing me select the sugar concentration in the Petri dish, select the concentration in the potato, then click here in the cross section, help the student and show what you have to do. So drag the first pin and place it at the initial level of water in the potato. Click here to start the experiment. Okay. Then drag the second pin and place at the final level of water in the potato. Okay. So the help here shows the student how to perform the experiment. Okay. Now, if we go to this Viva OS, see, it poses certain questions to the student where he can self-assess himself. He has gone through the theory, he has gone through and read what the procedure of experimentation, and sometimes through animation and sometimes through live videos of teachers doing the experiment, they show the experiment and what it has to be done. Simulator will help the student to perform the experiment himself and make observations by varying the values there. And then this Viva was helps. See, there is a question here. The tendency for the solvent molecule of a solution to move from a region of their higher concentration to region of lower concentration through semi-permeable is called. They have, see, osmosis, I select an answer. Sometimes it shows if it is a correct answer or whether it is a wrong answer. I go with, when a solution has low level of solute, it is said to be, let me see.
Excuse me, madam. It is there on the web, right? So that you can view it. If anything new, you just explain. Otherwise, it's enough.
Okay, so these are the questions which is there. And at the end, if I give submit, see, it shows that this is a correct answer. The second one was correct. The rest I have not answered here. Even if I choose a wrong answer, it will show that the answer is wrong, and it will give a hint saying that the hint to answer is solutions with low solute levels are called hypotonic solutions. The prefix hypo means low. It is giving a hint. Okay? So this is how science experiments can be done online. And then the important words which they have to know, that is flaccid, hypertonic, hypotonic, isotonic, that could, then additional resources also which they want, the books which will show this experiment they've given here. Then what are the different websites for additional information they can go, that is also being given. Okay. So this is the OLabs resource. There is also a English laboratory which is also available.
It's 3:15, madam. Would you like to
Yeah,
have
yeah,
some
sir.
more decision?
Okay, so this is the one, and there are certain, if you just go to the website, you have this OLabs website, and then there is one for English preposition. English laboratories are also there. This is the procedure of how to start using OLabs. Okay, and then this is the website www.olabs.edu.in. Schools also can register here, and even for higher education institutions for 12th standard and engineering courses also have a website called the VLabs. Okay, many of the degree college science experimentations, you have various experiments which can be accessed to on that website. And these are certain, I just wanted to show you this also. I will not this. There are various science experiments here. See, through games, how you can make them, and then you can use also different languages. See now, for example, air and water. Here I will just take off one. I want to show through a game how air expands with heat. Okay, if you are able to view this, there is
No,
a
madam.
bottle.
No.
1 second. See here, there is a glass bottle, coin, and water, and see, they show dip a coin in the water, apply water to the mouth of the bottle here, and place the wet coin on the bottle. Then grip the bottle tightly with both the palms. Suddenly, what happens after some time, the coin lifts up and goes back again, okay, with the sound here. See, after a while, the coin will lift, and then hot hands make the air in the bottle expand, and it lifts the coin. Okay, there is a small film which shows that also.
Respected madam, it's up. The time is up. Can you give us a time for interaction? And we are all also faculties. You just
Okay.
just inform us. We are not here to see what are there on the web only. If anything new, any new educational developments, that would be appropriate.
Okay, there are certain digital initiatives like this. You can just visit the website of this NME ICT. There are numerous initiatives for that matter, like e-Pathshala, and then these are, you can just go through this. There is another national program on technology enhanced learning where IIT Kanpur, Madras, Kharagpur, and there are spoken tutorials or talk to the teacher initiative, and there is a consortium for educational communication which is available. Then e-Yantra is one. Then e-Shodh Sindhu is again another consortium for higher education electronic resources, where universities can gain access to these e-resources and colleges. Then we have the free and open software in education. We have talked to a teacher where through the AVU collaboration, students from all parts of the country can talk to faculty members from various institutions like IIT Bombay and different university also. Then Ask a Question is again another unique platform where interactive live sessions are possible with students, and e-Acharya is one more. You can go through it. That is the integrated e-content portal of NME ICT. That is on the repository platform of Inflip. Okay. So there is another one called the textbook companion, okay, where many solved examples which are there in the textbooks are made available, and e-Vidwan is
Hello,
one more.
madam, you are exceeding your time. Please,
So
is
with
it
this,
possible to
I
conclude? We
think
are
I have
already
tried to
exceeding. I
introduce.
request you to keep the time frame in your mind.
I have tried to introduce the initiatives under this National Mission for Education for teachers and students through ICT. I think with this introduction, as teachers, you can get access to all of them, and using these material helps the teachers to make your teaching learning more effective and enjoyable to the learners, and more easy for the learners also. So any clarifications you need, we will have time from now till 3:30. Any questions you have, you can raise.